we have seen working with the locators, the operations with the radio buttons and the checkbox. And then later we move to drop downs. And then we have seen single select drop down options, and we have selected single select values using 3 different ways. That is using its visible text, using the index, and using the value attribute. So those were the things that we have seen on the Orange HRM. Now we are done with the selecting this drop down, single drop down or regular drop down, but we were pending with using multi drop down. Okay, so that multi drop down, we have discussed the theoretical part on this page yesterday. Now let us see the methods and how do we select all these multi select values in this. Okay, for that I'm going to create a new class, source Selenium new class. First things or the common things common, so I'll just copy it till here. Okay. But here the URL is not this. We are not going to open this application. So I'm going to change the URL to this directly. Okay. This is going to open this URL. The URL, whatever we open here is this. Now, once it is opening this URL, what we have to do? We have to click on directly it is here coming. So I don't have to click on run. What we have to do, we have to find this drop down and select the values. Right? We know the options and select. This is the HTML used for this drop down. Now we have the ID cars. So can I identify this element using cars? Following my session. Driver dot find element by dot ID is cars. Okay. This is an element, web element. Cars drop down is equals to. Now we have to create select class object. Select cars drop down options is equals to new select of this web element cars drop down. Okay. Now see on the object. This is common thing, right? Yesterday also we have seen for the drop down. It's the same. Finding the element of this drop down where the drop down is created and then passing that object to the Selenium, WebDrivers select class. Now the select class object is created and the methods related to the drop down are present inside the select class. Now to select the methods of the select class, we have to use this object and see the similar way I found the element of cars and I created an object for the select drop down, cars drop down. Now let us see the options. Cars DD, cars drop down options dot. See, before selecting anything, we cannot deselect. So you see this one is multiple. This is going to give us whether this will be able to select or this will be able to use multiple options or not. I mean, you will be able to select multiple values or not. So this is a Boolean value. Just to check whether it is allowing multiple selections or not, we can use this is multiple. This can be used only for this multi-select drop downs. This is from the select class. Okay. Better. This multi-select. Okay. Now let's see some other methods. Deselect cannot be done now because we haven't selected anything yet. Get all selected. This is also after selecting options, we can use this method to see what are all the options that are selected. That cannot be done. Get first selected option. This is also related to selection. After selection only, get options. This can be used. This is used to get all the options or whatever the elements, whatever the options. I mean, here what are the options available for us? Volvo, Saab, Opel, and Audi. So if you want to see what are all the available options in the dropdown, you can use this get options. In which situations do we need this get options? When do we need all the values from the dropdown is sometimes there might be some requirement that the dropdown should contain these values. So you should verify whether those values are present in the dropdown or not, right? All the values are present in the dropdown or not. So for that reason, or in that situation, we use get options. We will get all the options from the dropdown and you can verify it with the required list. Okay. Get all the options from the draft. Okay. Oh, this is going to return a list. You see, get options is going to return a list of web elements. We have to store it in list of web element. Let's say cars options. Now you already know, right? How do we read values from list? How can I read values from list? Come on. Cars options dot get of index. But do I know how many values are present? I don't know. Then again, the same list operations that what we did in Java, we can do that. Or we can write a for each loop. Okay. For each option in cars options, I want to print it. See, so option dot get text. That's all. This is going to print all the options for me. Okay. Understood? Nothing new I did. I used only this method from Selenium. All the rest of the things are from Java concept only. Right? We used list and how are we printing the values from a list. Okay. Now, next. I will run all at once. Okay. Cars options. Sorry, this one that we have to use. Yeah. Cars drop down option. Dot. Now, dashboard is multiple is done. Select by index, select by value, select by visible text. These things. Now you see select by value. So what is the select by index? Okay, let it be 0. Then RGD dot select by value. RGD dot select by visible text. So what are the values we have? Okay, I'll select Opel The value is also Opel for it. Okay. Then first one 0 means Volvo. Okay. First one is selected, Opel is selected, and then I'm selecting visible text Saab. Okay. This will select 3 items. But how is it going to select? Let's see. Select options one by one. Okay. But here there is one more small problem to work with this. This is inside a frame. Okay. We are not done with the frame concept yet, but I know this is inside a frame. I'm going to directly use that frame concept for now. And when we are on that topic, I'll explain you why we have to do this and what are all the things. Okay. Driver dot switch to dot frame. So let me see the properties of that frame. Yeah, iframe. We have an ID iframe result. This is mandatory to switch the frame. I'll explain you what is a frame and why do we have to do this operation when we are dealing with frames. Okay, but for now to work with this, I have to switch to this. So I'm using it directly. Okay. Now let's run this. You see, did it select the 3 options? Volvo, Saab, and Opel. You understood, right? It selected 3 values. And before that, we have done some operations like we have checked whether it is multiple option or, and we have also printed all the options from the dropdown. Let us see the console. Yes, is the dropdown multi-select? Yes, it is. So that is why it returned true. And the options. See what are the options we have? Volvo, Saab, Opel, and Audi. Now let's compare. What are the options? Volvo, Saab, Opel, and Audi. So did we get all the options using get options method? Right? So get options is going to return us all the drop down options, and is multiple is going to return return true or false Boolean value. If it is multi-selectable, that means if it has this label, you see here under the select options, it has an attribute multiple. If it has multiple, it will return true. If it has no multiple, then it will return false. You see? In these cases, I won't be able to select multiple values. I will be able to select only one. So in such cases, is multiple will return false. But if we have multiple here, the drop down will become multi-select drop down. And when you use is multiple, it will return true. Understood? All right. Now we have selected the options one by one. Now let us see deselecting. Deselecting options. So deselecting cannot be done in single select drop. Deselecting of individual drop options can be done only in the multi-select. So let us see those deselecting.
Nikhil, one question. Yeah. So for select options one by one, what is the main key here that get us like one by one?
Nothing one by one. We are selecting multi-select one by one for multi-select. Since the concept is multi-select, I did not write it. We cannot select all at once, right? Yeah. We cannot select like this. We are going to select whatever the options we want. Manually, if you want to select this, and if you click on the other one, the first one will be reset, right?
Yeah.
But here, manually we will select using control. But here we don't have to do anything extra. We are using these methods from the which class? From select class. Select class has already designed these methods, which will be only selecting. When you click or when you use this will not reset. Understood? We are adding the index, we selected this, and then we use the select by value. We are adding this Opel to the list of selection. And we are adding Saab to the list of Opel and this first one, Volvo. We are selecting one by one. We don't have an option to select all the three options at once. Understood?
Yeah.
Now deselecting or other methods from this one. Okay. Let's see. First selected option. Get first selected option, right? We have some methods in this class. Charge dd opt dot. You see, get first selected option is going to return us the first selected option, and get all selected options is going to return us all the options that we have selected. So let us do this. Get first selected option. Okay. This, from this we have to get the text. And this is first selected option in the drop. Just a second. No. Yeah. So get all selected options. Okay, I'll add up one more. So okay, let it do. Anyway, we are writing this, right? No. Let's see some other methods. Dot get all selected options. Okay, we have seen get options already. We have written get first selected option. Now better let us use this get all selected option. This is not needed for us. We are not going to get the wrapped element. That means if this drop down is wrapped in any other element, then we will get that wrapped element. But for now, it is not needed, and we will mostly not use this wrapped element. Get all selected options. So this is going to return a list of elements, and then these are selected options. Okay. Now again, to print the items from the drop down or list, I'm using this selected value. For each, I am printing it. So selected option is plus selected value dot get text. Okay. So we are done with selection. Now let me add some time here, or for this also I'll add some time. So that you can see that it's happening. I'm adding 3 seconds. Okay. Declaration. Now I have added some weight here, and then okay, printed. Now let's do deselection. Selection is done. We have seen all the methods related to the selection. Now let us see deselection. Okay. Cars. Okay, let us run till here, then I'll do the deselection. Let's see. Volvo selected, Opel selected, and Saab selected, right? So we have selected one by one 3 different options, and you see this is done, the execution is done. You see these are all the options present, and the first selected option in the drop down is what? Volvo. We have selected Volvo only, right, using its index 0, right? And what are all the options that we have selected? Volvo, Saab, and Opel. There is also Audi, but this is not printed here. Why? Because it is not selected, right? Total options are these, but it is printing only 3 because these are the only 3 that is selected. Because we used get all selected options. This is getting only selected options. How is it getting that? How is it differentiating whether this is selected or not? Once you select the values, let me show you. You observe the HTML content here. Okay. Actually, it should show this is selected, selected, selected something kind. Okay, let's see it. Okay, cars, multiple. We have these. That's selected. Okay, actually, here it has to show some selected kind of options, but it is not showing. But once you select it, Selenium is WebDriver method. Get all selected options is able to differentiate the selected value from not selected value, and this is going to print whatever the value that is selected. Whatever the value that we have selected here, it give us all those selected options. Okay. All right. And then get these.
So Nikhil,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, one question. So to write the down, get all selected options, we have to write the above query or code, right? So select.
Yeah, if you want to see after doing some selection, if you want to know all the selected options, then you have to write this. But if you just directly want to see the selected options, there might be some default selections and you want to see the selected options directly, then no need of writing this.
Okay. So
And
let's say
see, here I'm using 3 different ways to select values from a drop down, but you might use only index, you might use only value, you might use only select by visible text. It's up to you. But to show you all the 3 different ways, I'm using 3 different things.
Okay.
It is not mandatory that you have to select one by index, one by value, and one by visible text. You can use the same method in 3 places or for all the options. Okay. Similar, I've explained it yesterday, right? Here, if you want to select using its index, you can use like this method. If you want to select using its value, you can use this. If you want to select by visible text, you can use this method. To continue the same or to get accustomed with the 3 different methods for you, I'm showing again, I've used the same methods again here. Okay. Was that your question or something else?
Yeah, somehow same, but my question is you wrote down get all selected options, right?
Yes.
So in order to find out, let's say I want to find only the selected options, like get all selected options, I want to find out that. So in order to find out, let's say like we haven't wrote the above code. So do we need to write something similar to that code, or we have to write that one first and then only we can write get all selected options?
See, you're saying without this code, right?
Yeah.
I commented everything. Now this is the drop down. I found out the drop down, right? Find out the drop down. I used the find element method and then find out the drop down and passed it to select class, and then I created an object for select class. Okay. Now on this, you can apply this method directly without performing these operations. It's not needed to perform these operations. But see, if I do not run this, my code or my application, I am not going to select any of the options in the dropdown. If I am not selecting any options in the dropdown, when you call this method, will it have any value? I mean, will it have any options selected? No. So this is going to return empty set or null empty list. So you won't see anything. That's all. The size of these options will be 0. So when it is 0, that means you haven't selected any option. Let me run and show you. I have commented everything in between. So we are not selecting anything. Let's go to the console. See, execution is completed. It didn't print anything because the size of these options, selected options, the value, get all selected options. When it is searching for get all selected options, there are no selected options. So it doesn't return anything. So what will happen? This list will become empty. This list has nothing inside it. When it has nothing inside it, will it go into the for loop to iterate over each element and then print? No, it won't go. So that is why it is not printing anything. Understood?
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
Right? So in order to perform, in order to see how does this get all selected options work, we have to select some drop down options. So that is why I'm doing this. We need only this. This is enough. And we don't have to do this. This is for your example. This is for your understanding. How does this work? Okay. If we do this, that's enough for this method. Okay. This is one. This is second one. This is third one. This is fourth one. And this is the fifth one. Okay. So we are doing 5 different things in this class. Sure. 5 different methods we have learned. Is multiple, get options, and then selecting the values, and then getting only the first selected option, and then getting all the selected options. Understood? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 different sections we have learned. Okay. But for this, to show that it's working, we have to select some values. Then only you will be able to understand what are selected and what are not selected. If you don't select anything, then there is nothing selected. Then this will return empty list. That means it doesn't return anything. Understand?
Yeah, Nikhil, thank you.
Let me close all these unwanted browsers. Alright. Now we have deselection methods from the same dropdown. So now we have 3 options selected, right? We have seen by calling this method, we have seen that whatever the options that we have selected, that is being printed there. Now let us deselect each of them. Parse options dot. You see, there are 4 methods for deselect. Okay. One is if you want to deselect a value or deselect a value by using its index, you can use deselect by index. Okay. Okay. This is 0, opel and sub. Opel and sub. Okay, opel and then sub 0, 1 and 2. So I can deselect opel now. Okay. Deselect. Okay, here also, okay, there is already 3 seconds gap. So after this, I'll add some gap. Okay. I'm deselecting opel by using its index. Opel deselected. Okay. And then I have cos dd option dot deselect by its value. Same. So what is the value again? I deselected Opel. Then now I want to deselect Volvo using its value. This is the value attribute. The same name is present. So I'm using this Volvo. Okay. Volvo deselected. Okay. And then again, I'll add some sleep over here just to show that it's happening one after the other. I'm adding some weight. Okay. Again, dot deselect by visible text. Now what is pending? Sub. This is right. This is the visible text. Sub. So I'm giving this. deselecting sub. Now this will deselect one after the other. There is another method. There is another method for this drop down, that is deselect all. This is not going to select one by one option. This is going to deselect everything at once. Since we have deselected everything, I won't be able to show you in this example. So I'll show deselect all in the next example, next iteration. Okay, I'll comment this and I'll use the deselect all. Okay. Now let's run this and see whether it is deselecting each of the option or not. Okay, Volvo selected, Opel selected, Saab selected. Now it will deselect. Opel deselected, Volvo deselected, and Saab deselected. Right? You have seen this, right? Okay. Now I'll comment this, selecting each option, and then I'll use deselect all. Deselect all. So this one will deselect all the options at once, not one by one, all the options at once. One, two, three selected. You see, all the options got deselected at once. You're following the screen, right? Did it deselect all?
Yes, Nikhil, yes.
Okay. So these are the different ways. If you want to select an individual, if you want to deselect any individual option, you can use these methods. If you want to deselect all the default selected, or if you want to deselect all the values that you have already selected, then use deselect all. Okay. All right. Now let's see if we have any other methods that we are left with. Deselect, we have seen everything. Equals is from object class, so ignore it. Select, we have done. Get all selected options, this is from object. Get first selected options, we have seen. Get options, we have seen. Wrapped element is not needed for us. These are all object methods. And then select, these methods we have seen, and these are all object methods. So that's all about the drop down. We have seen all the operations that we can do with the drop down, multi-select drop down. Understood? Is that clear? Any questions in this multi-select drop down?
No, so far.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next topic. Notes. So we are done with this locator. Yeah. Yeah, we're done with these locators. Oh, sorry. We are done with the elements, but we are not done with the all the locators, right? We are done with only a few of the locators until link text, partial link text, but we haven't done with HTML tag, right? There are 8 different locators, right? Where are they? Yeah, 8 locators in WebDriver. ID, we have seen. Name, we have seen. Class name, we have seen. Tag name, we haven't seen. Link text, we have seen. Partial link text, we have seen. And then we have XPath and CSS, right? Tag name, XPath, CSS. 3 different things we haven't seen yet. So tag name, we will see it we will use this tag name while we are dealing with web tables. Okay. And then XPath and CSS, those are separate sessions. I'll also tell you those things in separately. Let me see what is the next. I think I started web tables. I should start web tables. Yeah, working with drop downs, multi-select drop down, and then working with tables, so that we will cover the HTML tag name. Okay. All right. So now let's switch back. Now let's switch back to Orange HRM. I'll close these unwanted browsers. Right. Now let's go back to Orange HRM to understand how does it Right. So I'm logging in, admin 123. Now working with web tables is a concept. You will have some questions on this in interviews. So let's see it, how it is different and why we should learn it separately. I'm going to PIM. So here is a table, right? Here is a table. Here is a list of values inside the table. We have so many users which are created here. Okay. So now let us understand the architecture of this table, or let us understand what is this table. So what does a table contain? Columns. This is one column. This is ID column. This is first and middle name column. This is last name column. Job title, employment status, subunit, and supervisor. These are all the different columns which are available in the table. To represent a column, what is the HTML tag we used? Come on. What is the HTML tag we used?
ID?
No, no. On a table, if you want to create a column, what did we use? Let me show you that. We created it, right? A sample HTML file. Sample HTML WebP file. If I open this, now see, I'll also open it in a browser. You see here, this is a table, right? This is a table. Now we have these columns: serial number, name, and contact number, and 1 and Nikhil, and 1 2 2 3 4 5 6. We have these columns. So how come we created these columns? By using what? By inspect. You see it. How did we create a columns? Using which tag?
TD.
Exactly. So TD is the thing. That TD is a HTML tag which creates a cell. Okay, if it is in T header, T head is a separate tag in HTML. These days, nobody is using T head. People are creating this also as a TR. Okay, we can create this also as a TR. Okay, it will be a row, and inside that row we will have this cells TD. So similarly, when we go to this Orange HRM, here also it is a TR, and then each column is created by a TD, right? Let me show you that. Inspect. Now you see here, this is a T header. Orange HRM is using T head and T body, but most of the other developers or most of the other applications, they are not using T head. They are directly writing under T body. Okay, but it's okay. T head, we have one row for header, and inside that row, we are using what? TH for column names, right? TH is the HTML tag, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then if you go to T body, and then you have rows, inside rows for each column. To separate each column, one column to the other column, we are using TD, right? You see, each TD is taking me to one column. The blue color, selected blue color value. You are seeing it, right? It's moving. Whenever I'm moving the mouse, it's moving. That means each TD is representing a separate column, right? And we have a table. Inside the table, if you want to read the headers, we have T head. If you want to read the values inside the table without the column names, then we have T body. And inside the T body, for each row, we are having a TR. Each row is represented by a TR. and each row we have all the columns, and the column cells are represented by TD. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Let me write here. So a table. Okay. Inside a table, we may have T head and T body.
T body.
Okay. So T head is used to represent the column names or header for the table, and T body is used to represent the data of this or display the data of this particular table. Okay. This T head and T body will be inside the table tag. That is why I moved one tab space. Okay. Now, inside this T head, we might have multiple rows per header, or we might have single row. So here we will use TR, and to represent a cell or to represent a column inside the T header, we can use TH or TD. Both are possible. Both we can use. TR inside a row, we can use TH or TD. TH means T header, and TD means table data. Table header, table data. You can use either this or this. Okay. And similarly, inside the T body also, for each row, we have TRs. We have multiple TRs. Okay. For example, 3 rows. And then each row has 3 columns. Then TD, TD, TD. This is how it works. This is how the hierarchy of, or the, the hierarchy of table is. Understood? Like this it looks. So you have a table, inside it you have a T head tag inside and T body tag, and a T head tag is having a TR to represent a row, and inside that row we might have TH or TD. And again we have a T body, and in T body we might have n number of rows. We don't know how many rows we are going to have inside this body. Do you know how many values are present inside this, or how many values are present in the list? Can you count this? I mean, by seeing it, can you tell how many values are present here? No, right? There are n number of rows. We don't know how many rows will be present at what time. And suppose if I delete this, then again this will be changed. The count will be changed. So we can get that count using this TRs. So first we have to get all the rows. How can we get all the rows? We have to get, using the tag name, you have to get all the rows from this table, and then you have to get the columns from each row, and then from each column you have to read the values. Okay. So what are the operations that we have to do? First, get the table. Okay. On the table, get the rows count to iterate over each row. Okay. And then on each row, get columns. Okay. Columns count and iterate over each column and get text. So these are the operations that we have to do. First, we have to get the table object. Okay. And then on the table object, we have to get rows count, and then iterate over each row. And on each row, we have to get the column count. And then once we get the column count, again, we have to iterate over each column and get its text. So these are the operations that we have to do. Okay. Now let's see this programmatically. Again, I'll create a new class, new class. This will be C5 underscore working with web table. I'm creating a main method, finish. And then we already have the code that will take us to this page, right? We have clicked on PIM, and then we have we worked with this, right? With this drop down employment status. So we have it somewhere. So let's go working with drop down. Yeah, here it is. So we have the code which will take us till that page. So I'm copying this. Right. We are doing nothing new. We are opening, we are creating a class object to use this get driver method, because this get driver is in this class C1 intro to web driver. Okay. Once we get the driver, we are navigating to this orange HRM URL, and then we are maximizing the window, and then we are entering the username, we are entering the password, and then clicking on login button. Once we logged in, we are clicking on the PIM link. That's all. Now we are at PIM page. Here in this page only we have the web table, right? In this page only we have the web table. Now we have to work with the web table. So first step, what is the first step? Find the table, right? Now let's find the table. Driver dot find element by dot. I don't know what is the attributes or what are the tags we have for this. So right click on the first column or first row and inspect. If you right click and inspect anywhere on the table, then you have to scroll a lot to find where is the table, right? Because it will not show the table tag. It will show the TD tag because I right clicked and inspected here. So it is showing that TD tag, but I want the table tag. I have to scroll manually to here. Or if you don't want to do that scrolling activity, then just select the first row and click on inspect so that it will be very near to the table. First row will be very near to the table, right? So here is a table. Now we have the ID for table. What is the ID? Result. Okay. Pi dot ID. This is my result table. Now this is what? This is a web table. Right? We got the web table. Storing it. Web element. List table. Okay. Now we have the employee list table. Now from this table, we have to find, now we are not going to find on the browser. We have to find the elements on this table. Whatever the elements which are present inside this table, we have to find them. Okay. So for that reason, I am copying this employee list table. Okay. Now the second step is what? We have find the table. On the table, get rows count. From the table, we have to get the rows count, right? Now, this is the table I have stored in this variable, and then I want to get the rows count. Get rows count. Okay. So how do we represent a row? We do not have any direct method, get row count. Do we have it? Do we have any method for getting the rows count directly? Get attribute, get class, get CSS value, location, rectangle, screenshot as size, tag name, and text. We do not have any method which gives us the row count. But how are we representing the rows in table? Which tag are we using? Come on. Which tag are we using to represent the rows? Is it t-head?
TD. No. Row, TR.
Yeah, we are using TR. So if we know the count of these HTML tags, then will we know the number of rows?
Yeah.
Right. So the number of TRs present in this T body is nothing but the number of rows present inside this T body or inside this table. Agree?
Yeah.
So if we get the count of these TRs, then we will get the row count. Right?
Yes.
So that's why we are going to get the rows count using the TR tag count in the table T body. Okay. Now to get that TR tag count, we have to use find elements on this table. This is a table, and on the table we are finding the elements. Yeah, row is an element, right, on the HTML. So again, we have to use this new method called find elements, because find element is going to return us a single element, but we want multiple elements. So that is why we are going to use find elements, which is returning list of web elements. We know for sure we are going to get multiple rows. Even if it is a single row, you can use it. No problem. Okay. So we are getting multiple rows. So we want to find multiple elements. Now, how do we want to find the multiple elements? Here comes the new thing. We are done with class name ID, link text, name, parcel link text. Now we are pending with tag name. So here I'm going to use the tag name. What is the tag name? The tag name is TR, right?
Yeah.
So now this is going to return all the TRs. I can store it in an element and then I can store it in the list and then get the size of the list. Or I can let me see. Yeah, I can directly get the size of it. Yeah. I don't want to store all the TRs in an object, right? I just want the size of it. So I'm applying the size method directly here because this is going to return a size of, what is it returning? You see, list. So on the list, I can apply the size method. So I'm applying the size method. Okay. Either we can write like this or another way. I'm just showing you. We will store it in a list of web elements of rows. Okay. Now I will import this list from java.util package and then I can use this rows.size. Instead of writing like this, I'm writing like this. That's all. Understood? This is returning a list of elements. So I stored in a list. Now on the list, I can find the size. So similarly, anyway, this is returning a list. I don't want to store it in a variable. I can directly find the size of it in the same line. Understood? Let me remove this to avoid unnecessary confusion. Okay. But you can use it in your in your code. If you want, you can write this size directly here. Okay. Right. Now, what did we do? We found the table, and on the table, we find the number of, we found the rows, all the row elements, and then now to get the count of it, we are using this size, right? Count of rows using list size method. So this find elements is returning all the TR elements. Now all the TR elements is present inside this. Now if you want to get the row count, if you count the elements in this list, that's enough for us, right? So that's why I am getting the size of these rows. Now we have the row count. We are done with second operation, right? Now we have to iterate over each row, go to each column and get the text, right? That's what we do, right? Now for suppose I want to print all the data, I have to find this row. Inside this row, I have to go to this column. I have to see if there is any text. Okay, this is a checkbox, so I won't get, it will be empty. And then here I have a text. I have to read this text and then print. After this is done, I have to go to the next column, read this and print it. After this, go to next, read this and print it. So I have to do the same operation on each column, right? Repeated. So that is why we are going to use a for loop. After this row is done, I have to move to the next row and perform the same operation. Again, I have to move to the next row and perform the same operation. So that is the reason I'm going to use a for loop to iterate over each row. Okay. For loop to iterate over each row, starting from 0 till this size. Rows dot size of I++. This is default. A normal for loop, list index starts from 0. So I'm using 0 and then I'm iterating over each row from the table. Okay. Okay, 0th row. Let it be. Okay. Now we got rows. We have rows. Now from each row, we want to get the column count, right? That's what we did. We have to iterate over each row and on each row, we have to get the column count. So how do we do that? Or instead of going each row, this table, the table which we have here is having the same number of columns for each row, right? For all the rows. So I can get that. get the column count. And where are the TDs or where are the columns present? These TDs are present in TR, right? TRs is present inside the table and the TD is present inside TR, right? You understood it, right? Sharap and Janji.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that's why on the table, we found the rows. Now in each row, we have to find the column count. But the column count is same for all the rows. So what I'm going to do is to get the count from these rows, I'll get any one row. Get of 0. I'm getting the first row. And on it, I'm going to find the columns. Find elements. How? By dot tag name. What is the tag name? TT. That's all. This is going to give me the columns list. Okay. On this columns list, I can apply the counter. Okay. Understood? Row size. I'll store this int row count is equals to, and this will be my column count, so I can store it in column count. Okay. See, for example, just to show you, here I wrote in 2 different lines, but here intentionally I wrote in a single line. I can apply this size directly to this line. Okay. Right. So here, what am I doing? My rows are present inside this list. But if I want to get a particular element from the list, we have to use its index, right? I'm getting a first row. And on the first row, I'm finding the column count. Okay, this is the column count. Here I have the row count. So I'm using this row count here. Okay, and then in this, again, for each row, I have to iterate over the columns. So again, I'm writing a for loop here. Okay, and this for loop will be int. I don't want this R. Row, for rows, I'm using R to avoid confusion. Okay, and then for columns is equals to 0, and then column less than column count, then column C++. Okay. Now to iterate over each row, we have this for loop, and inside this rows, we have multiple columns. So to iterate over each column, we have this for loop. Got it, right? Right? Now, now we have, I did not store these columns in that. So what I'm going to do is, okay, it would be better if we separate into 2 lines. No. Okay, now I will add this here inside a row. For each row, if I want to get the column count, but I don't want to get the column count for each row because it's the same for all things. If it is separate, then I'll add it here. But if it is same, then I don't have to add it here. I got the row count, I got the column count. And now I have to, from each column, I have to get the text, right? From each column, I have to get the text. So here, now, inside this column, rows, right? We have multiple rows, and then we have to get each row. But where is the row index present? Here it is, right? So I'm using row. We got the 0th row now. Rows dot. Rows is number of rows, right? All the rows are present inside it, that list. Now we are getting the first row using its R index 0. On the first row, what we have to do? We have to get the columns. Dot find elements by dot by dot name of TD. Okay, by dot tag name of TD. This is going to return the columns of this particular row. Okay. So this I'll be storing in list of element and then columns. Okay, I can use this column count, or I can use this row, this calls, and then get the count of it. Okay, I can use any way. Anything is fine. Okay, now, so what do we have? We found a row and we got all the columns from that particular row. This is getting changed. The index will be changed for each row. For each row, we are getting all the columns from it, right? And then for each column, what we have to do? We have to get the text from inside it. So we have calls dot get of. See, now it is a column index, right? This one, right? So, okay, let me do that. Calls dot size. If you are using this, then this line is of no need for us. Okay, inside the for loop, I'm getting the column count. Calls dot size, and then I'm getting the column, that particular column using its index. And then from that column, what I have to do? I have to get the text, right? I'm getting the text. After getting the text, I want to print it. So I'm using CSO. That's all. Now we are done with all the operations. So here, what are we doing? Iterating over each row, and inside each row, iterate over each column and fetching the text. Understood? So now when I run this, it is going to iterate over each row and each column and print all the data that we want. Understood? I know it's a little different when we deal with the other elements. So here, what are we doing? We are finding the table. On the table, I'm explaining again. Please listen. I'm finding the table. On the table, inside the table, we have rows. So that is why I use the table object. Here, I'm not using the driver. I'm using this table object. And on that table, I'm finding the number of rows. To find the number of rows, since tr is multiple, so I'm using find elements and I'm using the tag name to find the rows. This is going to return a list. So I stored it inside a list. Now, to know the size of this list or to get the count of the rows, I can get the size of this object. So that's why I called this size method, so that I got the count of the rows. Now we have to iterate over each row. So that is why I created a loop for this row. And inside row, we have multiple columns and we have multiple rows. Each row, we have separate columns. So that is why what I'm doing is I'm getting each row and I'm finding the columns inside that particular row. Okay, using TD tag. Now this is giving me a list of columns inside that particular row. Now we have that columns here. Now we have multiple columns. This is a list. So I want to iterate over each column and get the value. So that's the reason the inner for loop. This is the for loop again. And here, what are we doing? We are iterating over each column and then getting the value inside it. Understood? Yanji, share up. Is that clear?
Yes, Nikhil.
Okay. Now let's see. If I run it, all the data which is present inside this table, whatever we are having here, all this data will be printed in our console. Let's see. This operation or this code is to print all the data. Okay. Print all the data from the data. Okay. So let's run this. Nothing, it started printing there. Let's see. You see? Now it printed all the users data. Let's see what is the first value. I mean, it's not, we cannot compare all the rows, but let's see. First one is 002 Odis Adalwin. Let's see. 002 Odis Adalwin. So this is Chief Technical Officer, full-time permanent administration. Chief Technical Officer, full-time permanent administration. And then John Smith. The next is 007. Yes, it's 007. The next is 0016. So whatever is present here, it is printed. And then let's see the last one. 0091, Luke Wright. Let's see the last one. 0091, Luke Wright, head of support, full-time permanent technical support. Let's see, head of support, full-time permanent technical support, and Dominic Chase. So that means it printed everything. Okay, let's see this 0254 Sai Kumar M. Let's see, where is it? 0254 Sai Kumar M. See, 0254 Sai Kumar M. 6885 Nan Stravika M. 6885 Nan Stravika M. Right? So this is printing all the data from the table. You might see sometimes there are less spaces and sometimes there are more spaces because this row has multiple columns and it doesn't have any text. So that is why it is showing blank. Right? If you see this 0248 Manali Kulkarni, let's see that 0248. Yeah, here it is. Manali Kulkarni. What about these rows? Do we have any data in these rows or in these columns? Here we do not have any data. Here also, here also, here also. So that's the reason you see that empty space here. And here also the same, the empty space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Right? And then 0254, Sai Kumar M. This also doesn't have any data. And 6885 also doesn't have any data. Blanks. But this has the data, it is printing that data. And then why is this empty space after each row? Because in the beginning of the row, we have a checkbox. Do we have any text inside this checkbox? No, right? That is why you see this gap in between each row. Understood? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Nikhil, this is like a account validation, right? Like SQL?
Not count validation. We are getting all the data. If you want to fetch the data from
Data
the table,
validation.
we are fetching. Yeah. If you want to validate the count, this is enough. Till here is enough.
Count of row, yeah, that one.
This is enough. But to fetch the data, we are doing these operations.
Okay.
Okay.
What if
Count
we
of
want
rows
to,
here is enough. Yeah.
what if we want to fetch like just some data, like
I know.
use
So
limit
the next,
and
the
Okay,
next topic is that. Okay, if you are good with this, then we can apply some conditions on it.
yeah.
So you are good with this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let print only a particular user data. Okay. So here I might take, suppose I will give you a user ID. Like for example, I want the data of user ID, whose user ID is 227. So in this table, on this table, once you come to this page, we have to search for the 227. How do we search? We have to go to each row and check in this column. ID is 2. No, it's not 227. 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 Okay, I'll go like this. Where is that? Okay, here it is. So I found 227 on this column. Once I found this, then I have to jump into other, I have to completely print this rows, right? I want to get only this 227. If I want to get only this data of this particular user, or I might say, I want to print the data of a person whose last name is Carter. Okay. Then I have to go to each row, go to last name. This is Adalwin, not Carter. This is not Carter. This is not Carter. This is not Carter. This is not Carter. And okay, I found here Carter. Then if I find this Carter, then I have to print all the data from this row. All right. So what am I doing? I'm applying some condition on the values that I'm giving or on the column that we have. right? I'm applying some condition and I'm checking if it is matching with my requirement. Then if it is matching, then I'm iterating over each column and then print all the values. Otherwise, I'm not printing it. Okay, that we have to do now. This is your question, right? To get a particular row or to get a particular, to get the details of a particular person.
Yes.
Using their ID or first name or last name, anything. Or even you can use job title, but this job title might be duplicate. So I'm not using this job title, okay?
Okay.
First, let's see using their ID. Okay, I'll use 227. 227 as the ID or anything we can use. Okay, if we go down, then it will take a little while for searching. So that's why I'm using 227. These are enough for searching. Right. Now find only a particular user data. All the operations are same. We have to get all the row count and then iterate over each row. Right. We have to iterate over each row to get that value. Right. So that's till here it will be same. The only thing that we are going to change is in this part. This is printing all the data. Now I'll comment this. Comment this. And then I'll use this. Yeah. Yes. See here in this we are printing all the data, but we have to apply some condition. I don't want to print everything. When should I print this? If columns dot get of which column? Suppose 227 is in which column? ID. ID's column number is 2, right? This is fixed. This is first row. This is sorry. This is first column and this is second column. I want to check using the ID column, right? So from the index 1, from the index 1 for each row, I'm checking the index 1. Okay. Dot get text. This will give me the ID numbers. Okay. From each row, the first column ID will be given because I am hard coding this index. Okay. Then this get text equals ignore case. What? 0227. 0227. If it is equals ignore case of this, then do these operations. So I have to apply this in if condition. If. You understood? Just a simple if condition. That's all. This is enough. Understood?
Yeah.
Right? Then now I added a condition over here. If it is matching 227, then I'm printing everything. Otherwise, I'm not printing anything. Let's see that. Here anyway, we know. Let's see the console. You see, is it printing only 227? Right. This is what we asked, 0227. And it is printing only 227. The execution also stopped. You see here, it is nothing. The red color is gone. Only 227. Let's compare this 227 ID with the open browser. Where is this 227? Here is. So Ahios above account assistant. Ahios above account assistant. And then full-time probation finance Kevin Matthews. Where is that? 227. Yeah. Full-time probation finance Kevin Matthews. So did we get whatever the data that we are looking for? Right? So here the column number of ID is 2. So I gave index as 1. I don't want to go with the ID. Suppose I want to go with the first name or last name. Then in that case, if I want to go with the first name, then the column number is 0, 1, 2. So here I'll change this to 2. And then what first name? I want this Chenzira, for example. So I will give this Chenzira here. Now it will print the data of Chenzira. Let's see that. Okay, it's going to be IAM. Now let's see the console. See, is it printing only Chenzira's data? Right? 217 Chenzira Chuki QA engineer. 217 Chenzira Chuki QA engineer. Full time, quality assurance, Anilia Haq. That's all. You understood, right?
A particular, okay.
So here, the column number we have to change. If you want to compare with some column, I want to compare with job title. Then I'll give, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth column. Suppose I want to print all the users whose job title is software engineers or any other things. Okay. I want to print all the users data whose job title is software engineer. So I'll change this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll change this number to 4 and then I'll pass software engineer. Now this will print all the users data whose whose job title is matching with software engineer. Let's see that. So it's a simple if condition in the same loop. Now let's see the console. 1, 2, 3. It's searching and then finding the data and printing it. Yeah, it's done. Only 3 software engineers are there. 208, 204, 0034. Let's see that. 208, software engineer, and 204 is a software engineer. And again, where is the other software engineer? Here it is, 0034. Okay. And we do not have any other software engineers here. Okay. So did we get all the required data? Right. Is that clear?
Yeah.
All right. So this is all about getting the data. Now, in the same table, if this is fetching a text, that's fine. But we are also having checkboxes. We have to perform the operation on this checkbox, right? We have to select this if you want to do that. If you want to delete the user, we have to select it. So to perform this operation on the checkbox, the same. Again, we have to find this checkbox in this cell and then click on it. So for that reason, what we are going to do? Select the users checkbox. I'll wind up in 5 minutes. Please be patient. Just give me 5 minutes so that we can close this web tables topic. Okay. Right. Now I want, okay, I'm copying this again. Okay. I'll comment this. I don't want to print anything. I'll comment. I have commented it. Now I have this. Select the users checkbox. Now I want to select the checkbox of user whose ID is 0247. Okay. So I'll keep it as 0247 and the column number is 1. Okay. I'm using this column number 1 and 0247. Now, if it is matching, I don't want to get all the text and print it. What I want to do? I want to select that checkbox, right? On that row, I want to select that checkbox. So get of in which column the checkbox is there. You can hard code it to 0. I don't need it to iterate over each column. Iterating over each row is enough for me here, right? Iterating over each row is enough for me. I'm going to each row and I'm getting the columns from that row. And if the first column is matching with the ID, then I want to perform the operation on the 0th column. Get of 0 dot find element by dot. We have this checkbox. We have to find this element and then select it, right? Inspect. Again. Yeah. You see, inside the TD we have input whose ID is this. Check select record. This underscore 2 will be changed for each row. If I go to the third one, it will be underscore 3. If I go to the third row, where is that? Yeah, this will be changed. So I have type is equals to checkbox, but we haven't discussed it. Okay, we have the name is equals to check select row. Is it same for everywhere? Yeah. So I'll use the name. Okay. By dot name. What is the name? Check select row dot click. That's all. You understood what I did? I'm iterating over each row and I'm checking in the first column if it's 0247. If it's matching, then I am performing this operation. On the row, from that particular cell, I'm finding the element that I want to find. And then I'm performing the operation on it. That's all. Now let's see this. This is going to select the checkbox of 0247. Let me close all the other unwanted browsers. Let me run it. What is the idea that we give? Oh, index 1 out of bounds for length 0. Okay, for each row, there is the rows. Okay, rows is here already. So I'm using it. For each row, I'm getting this row and I'm getting the. See, what is the issue here is, okay. So here, what's happening is, when I say all rows, it is also checking this. But do we have any TDs inside this? We have THs, right?
Yeah.
In the 0th row. So that's why it is saying index out of bounds. So we have to start these rows, not from 0, but from 1. So that it will start from here, start searching from here. Okay, let's. You see, it selected 247, right? We have given 247 only, right? Now,
Yeah.
So similarly, you can change the column number and the value. Suppose I want to select using his first name, then I can change the column to 012 and value to Paul. That's all. It will select that particular row. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
So this is how we deal with web tables. So the operations is in this part that we have seen. So first we will find the web table. On the web table, we will find the row count, and on each row, we will get the column count. We will iterate over each row and iterate over each column if you want to fetch all the data. If you want to fetch a particular data, anyway, we have to iterate over each row and each column, but we have to apply some condition inside the loop so that it will print only when the condition matches. Otherwise, it is not going to print. And to perform the operations on the elements inside a table, this checkbox is inside a table, right? Inside a table. So the element present inside a table. So that is why we got the rows, we got the table, we got the rows, and then we are finding the column of that particular element. In this column, we know that it is in the first column. So that is why columns dot get of 0. So I got the first column. Once I got first column, I'm finding the element inside that column. See, here we have only one checkbox. For some time, in some of the tables, you might have two things here, like links, edit and delete, right? Have you ever seen such kind of tables? Edit, delete icons here itself directly instead of the checkboxes. So there might be a number of elements inside this column. So that's the reason we are finding that particular element inside that column again. We found that column. Inside that column, we are finding the element that we want to perform the operation on. That is our checkbox. So that checkbox, we found it using its name. We found that checkbox and the operation is common. We want to select it, so we clicked on it. That's all. Okay. So this is all about working with web tables and working with multi-select. Any questions in today's session?
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll give you some task table just for the practice. Okay, write a method. You know how to write a method, right? So write a method which gives me the column number when I pass the column name. So on this table, if I say subunit, okay, I'll pass subunit as my input. Then you have to come to this table and find the column number of this subunit. That means you have to iterate over each column and then find if it is matching with the subunit. If it is matching, then return the number of it. So how? So you will have the index anyway, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when I say subunit, you have to return 6. When I say job title, you have to return 4. When I say last name, you have to return 3. That is the method. Okay. Can you write? The same loops you'll use again.
Okay.
But I'm asking you to write inside a method. Just try it.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. So then have a nice sleep.
Okay, you too. Thank you. Bye.